Great rising, FB. Ha ha. Get your chair, get your mats, get your weights, jump on your bike, start your treadmill, get your water. Great rising. Let's get ready for this walk, y'all. Happy birthday, Leslie. Ha ha ha. My baby. There you go. My baby. Great rising. I think that was the YouTube moderator. Great rising, y'all. Great rising. Ujima. Collective responsibility. Yes. Thanks for coming through. Oh, yeah. Thanks for being here. I'm too far away. I can't read the comments. I'm going to take a break today, and I'm going to do our weights. It was just yesterday. I moved everything around for this safe cracking thing on Sunday. That didn't happen because people out here acting like coronavirus is a myth. I'm quarantined. I've been quarantined since the orange one was in office. So I do take it seriously. Yep, when I go outside I have my mask, and more importantly, I carry my hand sanitizer. I squirt, I squirt, I squirt, and I squirt. But if you're out there dealing with folks, you need to get your vaccination. I'm not. I'm retired. I'm retired. I got no problem staying in the house. I remember sitting on them trains to and from Connecticut, New York, back and forth, all over the place. In the car, driving highway, byway, blah, blah. And I know some people say, oh, you ain't do nothing because you ain't no world traveler. But trust me, I'm good. So, let me see. Let me get my pace going here. Yeah, y'all. And these pants is falling off me. I feel like tight stretch pants and stuff ain't supposed to be falling off you. No matter how small you get. I'm losing inches. Anyway, let's get back to the African burial ground. I said Ujima. So, I get all this food, and I remembered last night, I had not cleaned chitlins since I was in my grandmother's house. As the last time that I cleaned chitlins. So, to take all that food down for the Juneteenth, yes, it was Juneteenth, June 18th, as Sarah Smith said in Remembering Slavery on the cassette. It was audio for the cassette, it was the CD, I don't even know what's in now because if I knew, I would get it. So, something said chitlins. So I went to my neighbor and I said, listen, I gotta make these chitlins. I don't know how to, I know I was just taking them down to New York City to put as an offering to the ancestors to activate. So, but I want them to be clean. I want them to be good enough that I would like them or eat them on my neighbor. So we had computers at that time. at work. So I was looking at chitlin recipes on my lunch, and I saw the whole thing about soak. Some people said soak it in garlic and something about a potato. And my neighbor from Virginia, the state of my roots. Ooh, 5 minutes already. This fast walk is over. So she told me how you have to take all the fat off of it. And believe it or not, just maybe a couple years ago, I got rid of my Parks chitlin bucket. We used that plastic bucket for everything. 10 years that bucket lasted. This is the Parks chitlin bucket. So I spent that whole day cleaning, soaking in the garlic, the whole thing. And it was ready. I took it to my neighbor and she said, well, where all the white stuff? I said, you told me to take the white stuff off. She said you were supposed to leave some white stuff on for flavor. She didn't say that part. She said take all the white stuff off. It took me hours. Because that bucket is only like 5 pounds. And whew. Anyway, for some reason, I had all that set up. So we had fried chicken, fried pork chops, fried fish, chitlins, collard greens, cornbread, rice, macaroni and cheese, sweet potato pie. And I piled it up with the serving dishes and everything in a shopping cart. And I bought candles, wouldn't stay lit. And I went down to the African burial ground. And I laid everything out. And I was like, I don't know what to tell y'all, but they ain't bringing the bones back. GSA, Mr. Green, I can't remember his first name. It was all political. Come to find out, he was running for city council. Charles Barron, Brooklyn councilor, all political. So they were, I'll get, vote for me, I'll get them back in. It was just like a whole bunch of stuff. Then you had the 2 old ladies like me, and they were mean as rattlesnakes. And then I had made contact with Miss Vaughn. She's head of for the African burial ground, the government historical society thing. So talk to Miss Vaughn. Then Dr. Wilson was the archaeologist for the African burial ground, and she was going to run the whole African burial ground museum or whatever. It wasn't anything then. And we was like, okay. So I contacted her. She was like, gee, the Historical Society won't pay Howard for all the testing and the storage of the remains. But the Historical Society won't pay Howard, so Howard isn't releasing the remains. GSA was part of the land, but according to the memorandum of agreement, GSA also had to put some money in, I believe. And nobody was paying no money. So, also at the time I did the offering, Dr. Wilson, the archaeologist, had told me when I called, oh no, I read in the Amsterdam News that folks were stealing the bones of the remains from Howard University. I was like, what? What is going on? And it's one of them things where I'm walking down the street and in front of me on the floor is a newspaper article and the freaking remains is right there. And I'm like, what is going on? So I go and I do the offering. And I say, I don't know what else to do. I do not know what else to do. Every time the GSA, Mr. Green, he always kept saying, Miss Camacho, what is your interest in the remains? And I have to say, my name is Vicky Mayfield Camacho. Don't get it twisted. I didn't say that to him, but I said, and as an African American, I have a right to be interested. As a New Yorker, I have a right to be interested. So then, when I would go to Charles Barron, he already mad because I shot down put the remains back in on Marcus Garvey's birthday, when they should have a whole day to themselves where it's just about them. So, he didn't like me so much. So then, he started dealing with it. They started having meetings. And the irony of it is, I, at that time, was unemployed. So I could push for these things to happen. And as fate would have it, I got called for a full-time job like a week before our first meeting. Which, I was like, holy shit. I fought so hard for these meetings for everybody to get together, and they hate me. They think I'm full of shit. They don't know where I came from. And then I get a job. And I tried to get out of it. But of course, they was like, really, black woman? Are you really asking us? And I have seen folks do it. I have worked for folks that say, oh yeah, no, I told them that I could work, but I got a week's vacation, or I got something planned. I've never experienced that. Never. Even when my daughter was sick. It was like, if you don't come in here, you ain't got no job. So I don't know these luxuries that other people have. I've never had it. So then, gotta take the job. I miss all the meetings, all the conference. I had to miss everything. So, I start working. But I'm still working on the African burial ground. I asked them if they could conference call me in, put me on the table. And they did it for a little while, but then, our connection got cut off. And I didn't know what else to do. I was frantic. So, they already put the offering up. So, let me go back to the offering. So, I'm sitting there, I'm putting everything out. And this is before lunch. So, I get there about 10:30. And I set everything up nicely. And I'm chatting with the ancestors. I don't know what else to do. I don't even know why y'all got me in this. I'm living hand to mouth. I'm putting food on the street as an offering to y'all, but I'm finna be on the street. And I just remember, and then lunchtime came, so people were walking by. And they said, oh, for the African burial ground, like they do, for the African burial ground, that's an offering. I said, yeah, it's Juneteenth. And I had the recording of Remembering Slavery. So you could even hear Sarah saying, with, the government recorded the last living people who were enslaved. And you can even hear her talking. And then people are getting out for lunch and walking back and forth. And they're saying how great it is. But why isn't it inside the gate? Why am I not pouring libations inside the gate? Why am I pouring libations on the sidewalk? Whew. We're at our halfway mark. I said I was going to do everything the same. Ooh. 2 thumbs up. How nice. Ooh. Cool beans. Thanks for the support. Okay. Okay. All messages are visible. Okay, thanks. Wow. Let's get some water so we can wrap up this walk. Someone's idling outside. Oh, I hope that smoke don't come in. So I have the window open. So, now people are walking by me, and I got, because I had a nice table spread and everything, and they were walking by, and they were like, oh, why aren't you on the inside? Why don't you put on the... And I was like, nah, the gate is up around it for a reason, okay? I'm good. So then, more people start coming by. Well, why aren't you on the inside? So I said, I just came here to lay out offerings for the remains. I told them about the whole thing, about them being at Howard University, and them taking the remains, and then, some reason I riled them up. I blinked twice, it was about 20 people standing around me. And we're right across the street from 26 Federal Plaza. Now, this was before 9/11. So, I'm like, holy shit, Joel, you finna get me in some kind of trouble here. I'm just trying to put out this offering. So, somebody breaks loose, they go into the building, and they get a security guard. And the security guard comes back, opens the gate, people, they start picking up the offerings and everything and putting it inside the gate. I was like, no, they didn't say we could put that in the gate, they couldn't say. So I'm running back, I'm putting on the offering. I said, so the security guard said, you can pour libations. So I said, okay. So I went in. I had been talking to the whole time. And I think this is also, I had also went down to Harlem and handed out flyers to make them aware of the African remains, being at Howard University, and the Historical Society is not giving the money to Howard University, GSA not giving the money to do it. But the GSA is responsible because they're the one that crunched up all the bones and all the other buildings that were surrounding them. So they were responsible to giving the remains, what do you call it, internment. So I pour libations, and people coming in, they pour libations out. So finally a cop comes over, and he says, what are you doing in there? So then all of a sudden the security guard is like, what you doing in there? Get out. You the one that let us in. So he pushes everybody out. We lock the gate, and I go back and I stand at the offering. I said I would stay till 3 o'clock because, getting on the train and going back. I didn't bring anything back with me. It was an offering. I took the tablecloth that I used, made it into a sack, and put it into one of the receptacles. And then I brought the empty shopping cart home with me. And then, I don't know how this happened. All I can tell you is I was in Washington at the NAACP, not Washington, but that's the Maryland, to the NAACP with a whole packet about the African remains being in at Harvard, the memorandum of agreement, who's responsible to do what as far as the remains is concerned. I must have made at least 100 copies of the memorandum of agreement, and they were like this thick. I had to go through and pull out parts that apply to the remains and stuff like that. Oh, labor intensive. And then I made a nice little bundle with the articles and contacts, etc., etc. And I literally dropped it there at the NAACP. And I couldn't meet with anyone. I couldn't speak to anyone, even though I came all the way from New York, didn't matter. And the reason why I came there, because I had tried to speak to someone. I sent a package over earlier, so I figured with a physical appearance it would help, but it didn't. So then, now, I come back, I send a package to Professor Dr. Ogilvy, or Ogletree, at Howard University. He passed away maybe a couple of years ago or something. He was over the African American Studies Department at Harvard University. And I sent a package to him with the memorandum agreements, the highlights, the talks, the dates, the articles, and I sent it off to him. No response. So, then go to sleep, and I wake up, and it says, you gotta go to the New York City Council people and talk to them. They probably don't even know. Because it also had to do, the New York Historical Society. They had something to do with it too. So you got the City of New York Historical Society and the Government Historical Society. Now, and the City Council. So somehow I did my research, I went through and I found this woman, City Council, and the guy I was dating at that time. I said, Rick, please come with me. I gotta do one last try. I have tried everything. One last try. And I told him about the date of the meeting with the councilwoman in New York City. And then I went down there and I had a meeting with her. And, well, this wasn't long at all, just 2 days to tell the story. I thought the story would be longer. Oh, so I had a meeting with her. We went down there. And, oh, okay, this is what I forgot. In between all that, let me do my fingers. Let's do some fingers exercises. Now, I was jumping a little ahead. I was like, was that over so quickly? I could tell in 2 days. In the process of them trying to get me inside the African burial ground and not outside on the sidewalk, this one guy asked to interview me. And I was like, interview? And I had written my book, Tell the Truth, Shame the Devil, if you want a theme park. And the whole African burial ground thing. And he said, you know, let me interview you. Come into the studio. Let's talk and you'll be on New York City in the Bronx public access, which is cool. So I went to the interview in the studio. It's really nice. We talked about the African Burial Ground, the African American Museum, the whole 9 yards. But what really captured that moment for me was, okay, so the interview went a little longer than it should have. I didn't want it to go that long, longer than it should have. Alright, enough with the fingers. And it was running late. I had to catch a train to go back to Westchester, which is Mount Vernon. The easiest way to do that is to catch Metro North. You can take the subway to the last station in the Bronx and then walk over, but no. So, I get out. I'm all panicked because I'm getting ready to miss my last discount train. What do they call that? On the peak. It was the last off-peak train. So I come right out of the studio and I see the bus coming and I run, and I see the bus at the bus stop and I run towards it and it pulls off and there's a guy standing there and I said, was whatever number bus, was that whatever number bus? And he said, yeah. And I was like, oh, no. Oh, that's so horrible. Oh, my God. I missed the train. And he said, you know, sometimes horrible things can change your life around. And I was like, oh, God. Oh, here we go. And then I looked up at him. And I said, are you Jack Wooden? He's an old actor. And he said, yes. And I said, oh, nice to meet you, Mr. Wooden. I said, no, missing the bus is not the worst thing to happen to me in my life. Let's tuck your elbows and let's get this 20. Squeeze your gut. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and one for good luck. Oh, ooh, child. Let's knock out this next one. Tuck in your elbow. Squeeze your gut. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and one for good luck. Whew. Yes. And thank you, Dr. Kalinga. Yes, indeed. If Kwanzaa wasn't here for me, I'm telling you, I would be an empty vessel. An empty vessel. An empty vessel, y'all. So, ancestors activate. Activate and activate. All ancestors activate. Governor of Georgia, Stacey Abrams. Ancestors activate. Activate and activate. Ancestors activate. We need a satellite in space. Ancestors activate. Activate and activate. Ancestors activate. Governor of Georgia, Stacey Abrams. Governor of Georgia, Stacey Abrams. Ancestors activate. Activate and activate. Yeah, y'all. Yeah. Activate and activate. Ancestors activate. Yeah. Y'all gotta wake up. The children is in a bad state, honey. They finna pull out all the guns. Make sure we under their heels, honey. And make sure we are totally under their heels.
Thank you for the company. I'm walking, so happy to be walking. Happy to be walking. Thank you for the company. I'm walking. Yes, indeed, I'm walking. Oh, so happy to be walking. Thank you for the company. I'm walking. Yes, indeed, I'm walking. Oh, yes, indeed, I'm walking. Thank you for the company.
Yeah, y'all, yeah.
I'm walking. So happy to
Thank you. Thanks for your support.
to be walking.
Yeah.
Thank you for the company.
Whew. Yes. Thank you for your support. Thank you for coming on a walk. Facebook, please like, comment, share. See you tomorrow. YouTube, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up. Thanks for your support. See you tomorrow. Oh, everything is good. Ha ha ha. Everything is good. Thank you. Ha ha ha. See you tomorrow. No cheer. I'm walking on the treadmill. See you tomorrow.